Fashion with the Made in Kazakhstan label. The leading and aspiring Kazakh fashion industry designers. Fashion Week reviews, the latest trends, and pointers from the stylists. All your news from the world of fashion and beauty on Fashion Guide.
The fashion season in Kazakhstan is a series of shows, presentations, and Fashion Week submitted to the audience at least in 2 major cities of the country. Today, the focus of our attention is Kazakhstan Fashion Week. The Fashion Week in Astana now has changed its format. It is not only a platform for presentation of collections, but also a peculiar business forum. This year, the organizers invited the fashion experts from Italy. Among them were a representative of a prominent exhibition, White Milano, Federico Paletti, and an owner of the Milan showroom Point, Maria Pia. Both of them, together with other fashion experts, got acquainted with Kazakhstani designers, held a series of lectures, and agreed with the designers for further cooperation. We had a workshop of Georgy Rostovchikov. He is a famous buyer from Moscow. He held a master class on how to create a commercial collection. Frederica Migliazzi visited us. She is the representative of Vogue Italia, the representative of Vogue Talents. But she also came for young, talented designers. She is searching for creative young designers for the fashion market. There were both local and invited designers at the KfW Astana. There also came one of the favorites of Astana fashionistas, Igor Gulyayev. This year, the Russian designer marked an anniversary, the 15th collection in his career, but Gulyayev did not show the full collection in Astana. I wasn't planning to make a huge collection, only the clothes should have been huge. I mean the oversized style, which is trendy. We had a huge collection. We showed 101 looks in Moscow. It is too many. My standard collection consists of 30 to 40 looks. They all complement each other. You can mix them. A jacket from one fashion you can put with another fashion, and it will be tasty all the same. The designers from Georgia also presented their collections. The Ugly brand showed in Astana a collection you can wear during off-season. A distinctive feature of this brand is its asymmetrical cut. Even when producing shoes, they use here non-standard patterns. Here we have asymmetry. I love the conceptual cut in general. A cut that is asymmetric, not a standard one. We ourselves calculate the calves in our laboratory. Since I have my own production, my own studio, a laboratory and a mini shop, so we produce footwear, necklaces and clothes. So we can safely say that we have our own patterns. Aya BAPANI and her collections made from felt gradually conquer not only Kazakhstan but also the other half of the globe. Recently, the designer returned from Canada, where she presented her brand at the Vancouver Fashion Week. The Canadian fashion mongers were interested in clothes made by the Kazakhstani designer. Although, as it turned out, felt is not an exotic material in this country. It turns out that they also love that fabric there. There were even a few designers who worked with this material. Well, of course, the technique and quality are different. Everyone has his own peculiarities. But the most interesting is that they understand that it is a useful and comfortable material, and that's why they use it. Despite the fact that Aya has not been changing her preferences for several years, the clothes made from felt every time look completely different. The material itself remains the same, but the properties become different. Anyway, there are these whimsical moments in the material, and we have brought the technology to perfection. The people who wear felt clothing will notice that this is already such a stronger, long-term piece of clothes of high quality. The old-timer of domestic fashion, Aida Kaumenova, presented her spring collection. Non-bright colors, lightweight fabrics, and accessories in the form of birds created an appropriate mood. Designer dedicated this line to that short period of a day when night has just ended and dawn has not yet come. Every season, designers look for new techniques and sources of inspiration in order to surprise fashionistas. Sometimes the most unexpected things come to the rescue. For example, the Samidel brand concentrated the guest's attention on the prints. We have long been inspired by cuts of minerals. There came an idea to inflict prints with stones. We presented 15 looks at the Kazakhstan Fashion Week. All the prints were made in Astana. We use such fabrics as neoprene, silk, chiffon, taffeta, and as usual with ethnic elements, a lot of decorations were used. We made prints on the fringe, patchwork, imitation. The 3 days of shows, workshops, and business meetings passed almost non-stop. The organizers are planning to hold the next season of Astana Fashion Week in the same format. It is when a fashion week is not just shows, but also a business process. The season Fall-Winter 2017 to 2018 has become an anniversary one for Kazakhstan Fashion Week. For the 20th time, the organizers gathered designers and their fans, buyers and other fashion experts at the fashion platform. When in 2004, Sayat Dasibayev and Alexei Zhen kicked off Kazakhstan Fashion Week, their idea seemed insane to many people. There were no basis for such an event in the country. They had to learn everything on the go. Not only were we learning, designers, journalists, photographers, models, makeup artists, hairdressers were learning too. All this industry began to develop slowly, and when other nations came to us, who were leaders in the world, they were looking at us skeptically if we had fashion at all, for what it was. The main inspirer of Kazakhstan Fashion Week is Sayat Dasibayev. He began a close acquaintance with the world fashion from a series of author programs. Sayat is still the only media representative from Kazakhstan who had been accredited for Milan and Paris Fashion Weeks.
Это был 94-93, вот те года, как раз.
It was 1993 and 1994. Those years, at those times, haute couture was reigning at catwalks. At that time, I came to Paris and shot programs, author programs, and we did interviews and met such legendary personalities who are no longer alive. Yves Saint Laurent, now living, Uber Givenchy, Paco Rabanne.
Которых уже даже нет, уже в живых, там, Yves Saint Laurent, ныне здравствующий еще вот Givenchy, Uber de Givenchy, Paco Rabanne.
The recognized masters inspired Dosibayev on an ambitious project. At first, it got the title of Almaty Fashion Week. The main goal of the Fashion Week was to introduce the local designers to Kazakhstani fashionistas. There were few designers at that time.
Можно было просто одной рукой посчитать, пальцами одной руки. Тогда это был.
You could count them with just one hand. It was Kuralay Nurkadilova, Simbat Fashion House. There was a fashion house, Daralik. Where is Aida Kauminova from? I mean, she worked for Daralik Fashion House. 1 year later, Sergei Shabunin came from Karaganda. So step by step, from season to season, we were replenishing the list of our designers. Aida Kauminova, Kuralay Nurkadilova, Kinje Devatko, Kamila Kurbani, and Mikhail KRAVETS, these and other names are now associated with Kazakhstan Fashion Week. 6 years ago, the Kazakhstan Fashion Week organizers opened an additional platform, which helps novice designers to get on the podium. It is a contest for young talents named Open Way. Winner of the competition has the opportunity to present his or her collection at the Kazakhstan Fashion Week. Thanks to the competition, some new names appeared in the country's fashion sector. It creates a separate environment of creative youth, and each year we are surprised that there are more and more people there, and our task is to give them a correct professional assessment of how they would develop further. In addition to it, today Kazakhstan Fashion Week is a business partner of Azerbaijan Fashion Week, which takes place in Baku. The organizers of fashion seasons in Kazakhstan now are happy to share their experience with colleagues from the neighboring state. The shows within Kazakhstan Fashion Week in Almaty took place with a Jubilee sweep, and it is not surprising because it was here that domestic fashion was born more than 10 years ago. The organizers tried to gather the most powerful designers. Finally, there were 25 participants and 2 sites have been chosen for the shows. Mikhail KRAVETS opened Kazakhstan Fashion Week. His collection was really festive. The designer did not say feathers and sequins. The title of the work was appropriate: Shine. Here there is a lot of embroidery in the collection, of course, but the very idea of shine means being always unique, being bright even in winter. Although we used a lot of black and dark colors, all these, such an engraving in gold, silver, pink, and fuchsia appears. Another brand presenting a collection of evening gowns was Libas Atelier. Brand author, a designer from Azerbaijan, Simfira Musayeva, surprised with the abundance of transparent and translucent fabrics, with bold cutouts and décolleté. Nevertheless, the collection looked more tender than frank. Creating such feminine images, the designer was inspired by the ballerinas from the paintings of the French impressionist Edgar Degas. The color range is of pastel tones. If you have noticed, there was an element of a bow on each dress, and this bow has been taken from his paintings. He had such a crooked bow. And I reproduced this bow on taffeta and organza on more rigid fabric. Even one pink shirt had a big airless bow. It's all Degas. There was also a show of wedding dresses. MALIKA USSUPOVA, who usually presents bright creative images, this time dedicated the whole collection to brides and made looks strictly in traditional white color. But it did not surprise the fans of the brand. The fashionistas were waiting for such a collection. It all started when I dressed my closest friend Asha Matai. She had kiz uzatu and she asked me to make for her some unusual dress. It became just super favorite for the whole Kazakhstan, and I've sewed more than 50 dresses of such kind. All the dresses are made in national style, and those girls who represent the Kazakh traditions will like them. As Malika says, she embroidered manually by herself absolutely each outfit. The designer, Karina Bach, also distinguished with her fur works. The colorful fur accessories on the form of fluffy trim of sleeves or foxskins thrown over the shoulders looked quite shocking. I used rabbit hats with ear flaps, complemented them with decorations such as netting, and I decorated this netting with stones and crystals, and a muff was also an accessory. I also used, by the way, the netting. It is my new technique. Interlacing. In this case, I was using woolen thread because it is the winter season. I'm going to use silk for summer. Tamara Lamanukayeva this time diluted her favorite black color with bright red looks. By the way, not only playful rushes on sexy dresses and silvery jackets will be remembered in her collection, but also the transparent boots. The designer duet of Alexei Zhen and Laria Zhakambayeva, named 1-to-1 as usual, demonstrated an excellent cut, abundance of accessories and perfect combinations of black, white, gray, and olive colors. I would say that we got a little bit Japanese style. There are wide pants, kimono coats, and a lot of layers. The silhouettes are also loose, pretty simple. But of course we had many accessories such as boots and sneakers, and belt bags and fur hats, and fur headphone caps. The debutant Sunkar Ismuhanov and his brand, Kiriti, could be named the main discovery at Kazakhstan Fashion Week Fall-Winter 2017 to 2018. His monochrome coats, breeches, sweaters inspired by the NEP era and Soviet collectivization perfectly conveyed the spirit of those times. And besides, they demonstrated the mastery of the designer in working on a complex cut. These are severe, conservative images of men who return from the war, maybe of romantic girls who are waiting for their soldiers. Severe fabrics such as wool and tweed, flannel are prevailing. We use saddle cloth for our bags and briefcases. Sunkar began his career as a jeweler and haberdashery. This is why the leather bags, briefcases, and accessories are made by his own hands. The chosen style of the collection fully reflects his own clothing preferences. The breeches are very comfortable for everyday life due to their planting and free calves, despite the fact that it's trousers you can lift your leg and ride a horse. A pair of braces is a belt replacement. I believe that they perform their original function to hold the pants much better than a belt. If you're wearing a shirt, it doesn't go out due to the braces. I recommend them to everyone. The work of the young Kazakh designer was highly appreciated by the founder of the international fashion project, the Fabrika, Marina REZNIKOVA. I'm so thrilled with him. I mean, the pattern, the geometry, the accessories with which he works. Just amazing implementation. I think this is the collection for which I have arrived here. This organization's goal is searching and promotion of young fashion talents from around the world and scaling up their businesses. It is likely that soon we'll hear the news of the debutant Sunkar Ismuhanov on an international scale. However, participation in foreign fashion weeks is not uncommon for Kazakhstani designers. Barely ended the fashion marathons in Astana and Almaty, many of the designers began preparations for news shows and fashion business trips. Buy Made in Kazakhstan. This call became the motto of another fashion project, fashion startup Kazakhstan, the goal of which is promotion of domestic production. It takes place according to the scheme adopted in the world fashion industry, which means show, showroom, order. Thanks to such a format of the event, not only designers get acquainted with potential partners, but also establish new contacts and receive business proposals. Here we don't have guests. All the guests are the participants themselves. That is, everyone who works become participants in his own area. The designer area, buyer area, related areas, and mass media. 15 young designers from Kazakhstan and the near abroad showed their author creations. One of the main criteria for the collections was their commercial orientation. A highlight of the fashion show was the work of Ulday Mukasheva. The line combines national color and modern style. I've sewn the collection from light fabrics such as crepe, poplin, and cotton fabrics. And the decoration of my collection is folk embroidery called kistea. It has always been used by the Kazakhs. Plus accessories are made of artificial felt. These are the bow ties, collars, and so on. Most of the participants are novice talents. For example, a young designer, Aidana Abutalieva, introduced her debut collection named Blanco. It means white in Italian. This color became the leitmotif of the entire collection. There were 9 looks. I used white denim as basis, but in order to give it some kind of freshness and novelty, I used the organza of pastel tones. I also used embroidery with ribbons and stylistics by painting batik. The main spectators at fashion startup Kazakhstan are buyers who are specialists purchasing for showrooms and boutiques. Thus, the trade show became a platform for designers to meet with manufacturers and experts who are oriented in the fashion industry and are able to choose items of interest to the buyer. The representative of the Svoy design platform, Gulnur Omarova, also visited the event. She has already noted for herself the masters with whom she would like to work. I was impressed by Tizert. It was very good, very colorful and dynamic. There was a designer from Bishkek by whom we were also impressed. Very interesting and pretty colorful. 3 designers will be represented in our showroom. That is why we are the partners, because we had an agreement that we would take designers without fail. The project also has an educational orientation. At last year's shows, there was, among the others, the representative of Roma Fashion Week for Kazakhstan and Central Asia, Kanat Sauronbayev. It selected the 3 best participants. In April, they took part in the regional tour of Roma Fashion Week. This season, the designers have a chance to get an internship in Paris.